Good day to everyone. I am Jonger M. Banlasan, here to discuss about problem-solving strategies. There are 6-step problem-solving strategy. Number 1 is to identify the problem. Number 2, establish a theory of probable cause. Number 3, test probable cause theory to determine actual cause. Number 4, establish a plan and execute a plan. Number 5, verify full functionality. And number 6, document the process, findings, actions, and outcomes. 1. Identify the problem. The first thing that you need to be aware of when problem solving is that indicators are not the real problem. When problem solving, it is critical that you actually identify the underlying problem. What actually causing the indicator or the problem to manifest themselves. To do that, you should question yourself. Ask detailed questions about when the problem occurred and why they may have occurred. If you can recreate this issue for you, this can be extremely helpful. Determine what, if anything, has changed which may have caused the problem. More importantly, before you take action, make a backup plan so that you can preserve everything as it is. Number 2, establish a theory of probable cause. Once you have identified the base problem, you will need to establish a list of probable causes. Once you have a list of all probable causes, use your technical knowledge to prioritize that list. Your list should have the probable causes listed from most likely to least likely. Incidentally, be sure to question the obvious. Additionally, if no probable cause can be determined, you will need to escalate the problem to a higher level. Number 3, test your probable cause theory to determine the actual case. Once you have established a theory of probable causes, you should take a moment to consider whether or not you can solve the problem issue on your own, or if escalating it to a higher authority is called for. If it falls within your capabilities, you will need to test your theory to determine if it is needed to the actual cause. Your theory was created from the most likely probable cause, so you need to determine how best to test it. If your theory is confirmed, you will move on to the next step. If the theory is disproved or not true, you will need to go back 2 steps or 1 step as needed and work your way through the problem. Number 4 is establish an action plan and execute the plan. Once you have determined the actual cause by testing your probable cause, you will need to establish an action plan, then execute the plan. Simple problems will probably only need simple plans. However, if a complex problem, you may need to write out the plan so that you can be sure to execute it correctly. This is another opportunity to escalate the problem to a more senior level if necessary. Number 5, verify full functionality. After you have executed your plan, you will need to verify that the problem is fully fixed or solved. If everything works, then that's great. Based on your findings and the issue, you may find that you have the opportunity to implement preventive measures so that the problem does not occur again. If the problem has not occurred, you will need to go back to step 1 and continue to work through the problem. Number 6, document the process, findings, actions, and outcomes. Once everything is fully functional, documenting the process becomes important. This is where you document findings, actions, and outcomes. When the problem occurs again, there will be information available to walk someone through the means of problem solving and resolving the issue. This documentation captures a history of actions. An important aspect of this is that both positive and negative outcomes should be documented. This can save time during future problem solving and prevent others from taking the same missteps that you may have taken. Now, that we discuss all that, we're going to apply it to a scenario.
Okay, now we're going to try the 6-step problem solving strategy in real life, in which we are going to apply in the desktop computer first. Now let's turn the desktop computer on, and let's see if there has any problems within the computer. Now, as you can see, the computer has beeps. That occurs when the power on self-test or post that has indicated that there is problem inside the computer. Now, we are going to see what's inside the computer, and let's have some thoughts or theory on how to fix it. Because the first step is to identify the problem. Next is to establish a theory, then test that theory, then establish a plan on how will I execute it. Then last one is test if that is working or not. So let's try it out. We're going to open the computer. By the way, this is a Dell computer. We're going to safety first, remove the flag. Now, as you can see, this is the inside of the computer. We're going to ground ourselves, safety first. Then, let's see what is the problem. Because the first is to identify the problem, in which the computer brings us bit codes, and that is the problem. The real problem is to what is that causes the bit codes to sound. Next is, I think that the hard disk is the connection of the hard disk in the motherboard is not connected, or whether the RAM is not put properly. That's what I think, but we're going to test it anyway, so let's check. Oh, what's this? The SATA in the motherboard is disconnected, and it is connected to the hard disk, so we're going to put it in there. Then the next is that my theory is that the RAM is not put properly, and we're going to check there are 2 sticks of RAM here. 1 gig DDR3, DDR2 memory sticks. So we're going to put it in properly. Okay, just give it a little push. You will hear a clicking sound again. This is the second stick. We're going to push it a little. Okay, now that's done. Let's close it. No, let's try first. We're going to put back the power source. As you can see, there is a light. And now we're going to see if there are no bit codes after turning on the computer. We're going to turn it on now. And it works. Now let's close it. Now it works. We need to see if the other components of this computer are working. Now that works. Let's see. And there it is. The computer works. No more bit codes. So let's try it again. Let's restart. Maybe this is just some kind of luck. The computer is turned on. Now let's try it again to see if there are no bit codes this time. Now, as you can see, there are no big codes, and also the Dell computer is on. Okay, now that we are done with the desktop, let's head now to the laptop. This, by the way, this laptop was given to me by a friend, and he stated that the laptop won't boot Windows. Now that is the problem. We have identified it. Now we're going to establish a theory, then test it, then establish a plan on how I execute it, and now is verify the functionality of it, if my actions were good enough to fix the problem or not. Now we're going to turn on the computer. Let's see if that Windows won't boot on his computer. Alright, now it is stated that all boot options are tried, so that we're going to press F4. I'm going to head to BIOS. This is my approach, and I'm going to go to boot tab because it says there that all boots are tried. So the first I mentioned is that the virus, since we cannot access the operating system itself, we cannot identify if there is a virus or not. Now next on what I said is that the boot priority are not arranged. So as you can see, there are no boot priorities. So where is the hard drive or any external drives that inserted in this laptop? So I'm going to exit. The last one I said is to check if the CSM or the UF and the UEFI. By the way, CSM is compatibility support module, which has MBR. MBR is master record boot, and UEFI is unified extensive firmware interface. Those are needed to get the operating system on your hard drive to function it, to bring function to your laptop or computers. So to head there, we're going to secure boot. I'm going to disable it first because sometimes the CSM and UEFI are located when you disable the secure boot. I'm going to disable it. Then I'm going, as you can see, there are OS mode selection, UEFI OS. So by default, this is I think the chosen option. So I'm going to select the CMS and UEFI OS. After that, I'm going to save and exit. Where's the save and exit in here? I save. I F10. And yes. Now I'm going to wait if that solves the problem or not. Oh, it solves it. So the problem was that the CMS and UEFI can't reach the hard drive. Alright, now it works. Now it works. I'm going to shut it down. The last step in the 6-step problem solving strategy is to document the process, findings, action, and outcomes. So I'm going to write on what happened to the desktop and the laptop, and for the future sake, when the similar problem occurs, I can now know how to solve it and how to manage it properly. That's all. Thank you.